The year of birth, then the month of birth, and the date of birth, the time of birth, and the place of birth. And once you provide this data, then because we have very powerful computer softwares, we'll be able to generate the birth chart in no time. And the birth chart is the biography of that individual, astrological biography of that individual. Then we proceed from there. See, the time of birth is actually extremely important because the earth is spinning on its axis and covers 1 degree of arc in 4 minutes. So in 1 minute you cover quarter degree of arc. So if the birth time is not known accurately, then we will not be able to ascertain the most effective point. And if there is an error in the most effective point, say to the extent of 5 degrees, then the ascendants in many of the divisional charts will become uncertain, and so the divisional charts become unreliable. And in the instance when the most effective point is very close to a Rasi Sandhi, then the entire Lagna might change. It might change from Virgo ascendant to Libra ascendant. If it is 29 degrees and 30 seconds in Virgo, then it is an uncertainty of 5 minutes, then it will shift to Libra. So for Rasi Sandhi births, the uncertainty in the time of birth is more serious, and therefore one has to somehow, by some method, by very careful determination of life events and making a tally with the chart, between the chart and the life events, one has to somehow fix the time of birth, at least roughly. Otherwise, you can't begin the analysis itself. But if the birth time is uncertain for a Rasi Sandhi chart, then that's a very serious fault, and we can't go ahead with the analysis because you don't even know the ascendant correctly. Right. It can be either ascendant. So one has to do everything possible. One has to look up the family records, because you may have a family record tucked in some almirah, and you've got to retrieve it and find out the time of birth. And Pandit Vamadeva Shastri says that even the time given by the mother of the baby is often not reliable. And labor ward clocks are not reliable. They may not be synchronized to the IST. So one has to be very careful. And a good astrologer will always check the correctness of the time of birth by making a tally with the life events of the person, the personality of that person. Then we can be more certain. If it is 1 minute and 2 minutes and it is not a Rasi Sandhi birth, then that is not serious. Okay. But for Rasi Sandhi births, even 1 minute and 2 minutes can be very serious because they mean radically the Lagna shifting, the ascendant shifting. So it's serious. But for births which are not Rasi Sandhi births, 1 minute, 2 minutes is tolerable. You can get a fairly accurate picture of the life. The moment you specify the rough time of birth, and you say that the suspected time of birth is 1:15 p.m. and immediately the astrologer fixes the time as 1:15 p.m. and he looks at the chart, and lo and behold, it's a Rasi Sandhi birth, then there is apprehension and there is trouble. So if it is not a Rasi Sandhi birth, then an uncertainty of even 5 minutes can be tolerated, and one can still get a fairly good idea of the life of that individual.